Yo guys, it's slyroh. You already know that today we are going to begin reading Danganronpa Zero as I continue to do more Danganronpa content that tides you over until I begin to play Danganronpa V3. We finished reading the Ultra Despair Hagakure novel, which was a little disappointing. I feel like I've heard better things about this one. I don't super remember even what this is about. I think Danganronpa Zero is kind of like a prequel-ish. Like, I think this might be towards the very beginning of like the Danganronpa timeline. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I'm going to be reading this while I continue to watch the Danganronpa 3 anime on my own time. I'm probably about halfway through it as I start reading this. So hopefully by the time I'm done reading this and it gets uploaded and all that, I will hopefully be ready to talk about the Danganronpa 3 anime. And then after that, we can move on to V3. So that's where we are right now. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. This should be a pretty relaxing just read through. I don't know how long this is going to take. This link that I found for Danganronpa Zero, it has, I want to say it has like 253 pages or something like that. But like this is a page, and then like this is a page. So like there's definitely some pages that we should probably get through pretty quickly. So I don't know how many videos this is going to be split up into. I don't know if this has chapters. It actually does look like there's actually I don't have it on screen because it's just, this looks a little bit nicer, but on my own, I can actually see off to the side, there's actually 16 chapters, but I don't know how long the chapters are. So we're just going to go through and read it, and it should be pretty chill and relaxing. So, you know, read along, put this in the background, do whatever. Before we get into it, the music that you are hearing in the background, I'm using an app that's called Pretzel, or Pretzel Rocks. I don't have like this music pre-planned out. So at the top right of your screen, that is where I give credit to the artist. It's not necessary or anything, but this should all be YouTube safe music. That is what the app promises. So I just put on a random playlist to have some chill background music, and so I don't really know if the music in the background is going to be good or not. It's all kind of up to RNG, but it should be nice background music. So that is there for anybody that cares about what music is playing if you are super interested in it. But yeah, let's go ahead and start reading Danganronpa Zero. I don't know how long each video is going to be. I don't know. I'll probably try to do more than one chapter. Unless they're really long chapters, then maybe I can do a video per chapter. But I'm going to try to at least get 2 chapters per video, if not more. But let's go ahead and jump into it because I don't really know what to expect. And yeah, more Danganronpa content, more lore and information about the universe. So I'm very, very excited. Volume 1, Chapter 1. Junko Enoshima despaired. Everything turned out just the way she expected. Everything turned out the way she hoped. And so she despaired. Huh? Is it really that easy? Magma like heat boiled up deep inside her stomach, gradually swelled inside her body, and exploded when it reached her chest. The explosion escaped her heart and reached every muscle in her body, bringing her to a complete standstill. The sound of splashing water came from a muddy pool. She stood in as droplets of water danced through the air. On closer examination, one can notice the water was red. As soon as her body stopped moving, the red droplets of water came raining down, making grotesque patterns on her clothes and skin. Her clothes painted deep red with blood. Her skin painted deep red with blood. Her face painted deep red with blood. Nevertheless, none of this caught her attention. Instead, she started tapping her foot impatiently. It was a magnificent tap. She put every bit of strength, body, and soul she had into it, her entire existence. And then, after tapping for a while, Junko Enoshima let out an annoyed yell, as fierce as the roar of a feverish, rampaging beast. But that's not enough! Her scream echoed through her surroundings, the noise pouring down as if it was a rock shattering into pieces. But she wasn't done. She continued to scream, "More! More! I need even better despair-inducing despair!" She continued tapping her foot intently. Despair-inducing despair. That was what she was after. She wanted not only for the world to despair, but also for despair worthy of her own self. More! 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 Despair-inducing despair! She stopped mid-thought. Something clicked inside her head, and she stopped moving. Her face froze in a surprised expression, and she stood petrified as if every muscle in her crimson-painted body stopped working. Then she let out a weak whisper. "Oh, I see." A series of gears and switches began moving deep inside her skull, sparking pitch-black thoughts. A certain object floated up inside her mind. A face. It was a face she knew, of course. The face of a fellow student at Hope's Peak Academy. Boo 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 boo! Her body shivered as she started laughing. The shiver gradually spread to her entire body, and then she started tapping her foot again. Oop-oo! Oop-oo-boo-boo-boo-boo! Okay, that's a lot. This time, her tapping resembled a dance. She tapped her foot like a girl who couldn't help feeling joyous. A girl who couldn't help having fun. Oh, it's so wonderful. So wonderful. And as the face of the person destined to bring her such wonderful despair kept floating inside her mind, her heart overflowing with a strange feeling that almost felt like love. Junko Inoshima danced to a rhythm of despair. Oh, it's going to be so magnificent, this despair. Laughing ecstatically, super high school level despair, Junko Inoshima continued dancing. She danced as if she was losing her mind. That was the beginning of the story that ends in despair. Alright, so this definitely feels like it is the beginnings of Junko Inoshima and her plans for how it all came together. Because that's not something that we super know. We just kind of know that like she started this. We don't really know the origins before that. So that is what this is going to uncover. So let's go ahead and yeah, we're here at chapter 2 already. I assume maybe the first couple chapters are a little bit shorter. I don't think they're all going to be the same length. But yeah, chapter 2. Hope's Peak Academy, an exclusive government-sanctioned school accepting only students with exceptional abilities. Its stated goal is to raise the future hope of the nation, and for that reason, it became known as the Academy of Hope. It's a source of envy, as it's common knowledge that one can gain great success in life just by being a Hope's Peak graduate. Certainly, many Hope's Peak graduates are now employed in high positions of every field in the professional world, so that statement is not an exaggeration. These are 2 requirements to becoming a Hope's Peak student. One must be currently enrolled in high school. One must super excel at their field of expertise. Hope's Peak doesn't hold any standard entrance exams, as the Academy insists that the things tested by these kind of exams are meaningless for its purposes. Instead, students are scouted for by the Academy staff, who serve as both educators and researchers of extraordinary human ability. Some say Hope's Peak Academy faculty members are much like parents, who made it their life's mission to find talent and nurture it in their children. Right now, every member of that extraordinary faculty, as well as the Academy itself, is facing an unprecedented, unparalleled crisis. Hope's Peak Academy faculty building is located in the Academy's eastern quarter and is the only building on campus students are forbidden to enter. The corridors of that building, usually busy with staff members going back and forth, were now empty and engulfed in an unnatural silence. The laboratories, the private rooms, and the luxurious personal offices had all been abandoned. Every man and woman who usually occupies these locations were currently gathered in a single place. Meeting room 13. Hope's Peak Academy largest meeting room is located on the top floor of the faculty building and has a maximum capacity of over 300. Nevertheless, with every single faculty member attending, it was fully packed. Not a single empty seat remained next to the long table lined across the room. But for such a huge crowd, the room was relatively quiet. Only a single person's voice could be heard. The voice of Hope's Peak Academy's headmaster, Jin Kirigiri. Ooh. He faced the assembled faculty members from his position at the foremost table and read from a printout he held in his hand. He spoke in an unaffected tone of voice, a blank expression on his face. The words printed on the paper came out of his mouth as if he was nothing more than an automation reading them out. As far as Kirigiri was concerned, that was his most important duty. It didn't matter how out of the ordinary the subject on hand was. No, he didn't have any time to waste faced with the current state of confusion and unanswered questions. If they had time, there are more important things that they should have been doing. A voice suddenly rose from the crowd. Are you saying we're going to cover it up? Kirigiri raised his head and saw 300 people staring at him intently, waiting for a response. It wasn't a piercing stare. It was much more uncomfortable than that. 300 people stared at him as if they were one entity, and Kirigiri felt every hair on his body tingling. He turned his head toward the 4 people sitting to his right, trying to escape the stare. They were stationed at the same frontmost table he was, their faces unusually wrinkled. Their eyes were closed, making those wrinkly faces even wrinklier. From Kirigiri's position, it almost looked like the 4 faces in front of him were one huge giant wrinkle. The 4 members of Hope's Peak Academy's steering committee looked as if they were about to give up. An unintentional bitter smile appeared on Kirigiri's face. So that's how it's going to be. Oh well. It's not as if I expected anything else. With those feelings festering inside his heart, Kirigiri turned back towards the crowd's stare. He put the paper aside. He was going to use his own words from now on. Let me make it perfectly clear, he emphasized. We reached the decision after putting a lot of thought into the matter at the Hope's Peak Academy's steering meeting that took place earlier today. He felt the temperature in the room turning tepid. It was probably because every faculty member's body have grown stiff in attention. Kirigiri sipped from the cup in his hand and continued. We understand, of course, how extremely irregular this decision is. The wrinkly faces that were as much a part of the we he talked about as he did not move an inch. What? Wrinkly faces that were as much a part of the we he talked about as he did not move an inch. Okay. It was as if they knew from the very beginning he was going to make the situation, or he was going to take the situation into his own hands. Make no mistake, we are not covering this incident up to escape responsibility. If I could end it all here and now by simply taking responsibility, I would do so in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, this particular incident cannot be dealt with that easily. It doesn't even matter if each and every one of us takes responsibility. We're dealing with a problem that exists in an entirely different dimension. Kirigiri stopped for a moment and finished his glass of water in a single gulp, trying to remain calm. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we are completely blameless here. If we were, that parade out there would not be taking place right now. Kirigiri pointed a finger at the curtained window. Several people turned to look at it, a severe expression on their faces. That parade has been growing larger and larger lately. The people in it think we're all despicable. Their opinion is not completely unfounded. Kirigiri paused and moved his gaze across the room, looking at each of the faculty members' faces as if what he was about to say was personally directed at them individually. Nevertheless, I refuse to believe Hope Peak Academy's thesis that talent itself is humanity's first and foremost hope is wrong. You must realize that if information about the incident leaves the walls of the school, we are likely to lose it all. As far as I'm concerned, that would be a gigantic loss for the human race. Every one of our successful graduates I've spoken to feels the same way. At the mention of Hope's Peak graduates, the crowd stirred a little. That's the reason I and the members of Hope's Peak Academy's steering committee reached our decision. We concluded that the incident shouldn't be made public after all. I guess I should probably commentate on this part that I'm assuming this incident is like the classroom thing where like 16 or 17 or however many like students it was, like all either shot themselves or each other. I forget exactly what that incident was, but like I think this is probably directly after that incident happened and how they're dealing with it. This is probably going to go into the in-between steps between that and then probably when Kirigiri, Jin Kirigiri, like, dies, and then, like, the whole, you know, turning the school into, like, a safe haven, and then, like, how that leads into the actual killing game of the first Danganronpa game. That sort of transition period. That's what it seems like it's going to more focus in on now. Maybe a mixture of that plus Junko's, like, introduction into the picture. But yeah, shouldn't be Mahali after all. He took a peek at the old men, but they remained still. Their blank expressions made it look as if what was going on did not concern them. As I said before, I know more than anyone how irregular this decision is. Nevertheless, we have a duty both as educators and as scientists. The duty to protect talent. Should human talent become the target of public hostility, it would be a great tragedy. Furthermore, there is one more thing I want you all to remember. 300 faculty members waited in attention for Kirigiri's next words. The crimes committed may be terrible, but it doesn't change the fact that the student carries a very special brand of hope we raised all on our own. The color of the faculty's eyes changed in an instant. They did not stir anymore. Everyone sat in complete silence. No one objected. No one could object. His words were narrow-minded, but they reflected the opinions of everyone in the room. They were all acting both as educators and as scientists, researching human talent, and just like any other scientists, becoming obsessed with their area of research. The staff of Hope's Peak Academy were obsessed with talent. Anyone who did not share that obsession did not belong in Hope's Peak. That's why they listened to Kirigiri's words and made their decision. They had to protect their thesis, they had to protect the future they believed in, they had to protect the hope they believed in, and so they would do their best to cover up the worst incident in Hope's Peak Academy's history. Wow, okay. And that's the end of chapter 2. I'm going to try to make these videos probably somewhere in like the 20 to 30 minute range. So we are going to read another chapter, and that's probably how it's going to be broken up. I'm just going to read a couple chapters, and then whatever chapter sort of falls in between that 20 to 30 minute range is how long these videos are going to be. And that is the plan. So yeah, this is pretty interesting so far. You know, I'm going to wait for more sort of action to happen, but yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of stuff here. Let's go. Let's go ahead and go right into chapter 3. A yellow cat peeked out from the thicket to the side of the pavement. It slowly stepped out of the swaying grass and onto the road, waving its long tail as it turned its eyes in anticipation towards me. But its expression soon turned to alertness and then to fear. The cat, having seen me skipping merrily down the road toward it, must have thought I was about to trample it. It escaped back into the bushes in panic. But I didn't care at all. I bathed in the light of the hot sun, let the wind flutter my skirt, and continued my obscene merry skip onward down the road. I was in Hope's Peak Academy's eastern quarter near the courtyard. Many newly built facilities were lined up around me, as well as several that were still under construction. As I skipped down the road that twisted between them, I took no special notice of any dirty cats or of my classmates studying and fraternizing all around, nor did I derive any happiness from the light touch of the sun after a long stay indoors. No, I skipped down the road with nothing but my destination on my mind. Not that I'm the kind of girl who'd go skipping around thoughtlessly. I had a reason. I'm gonna meet the boy I like the best in the world. That said, my reason may have been a good one, but no student in their right mind should go skipping down the road in a campus of a school of as high a pedigree as Hope Peak Academy. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that other students who happened to walk by looked at me oddly, but that really has nothing to do with me. Nothing in the world could stop my skipping. Not a crying girl, not a couple fighting, not a student in a wheelchair that has come to a standstill. Not even an anemic student who has fallen down. One thought alone moved my body. I want to meet him. I love him so much. I skip so obscenely that no one would probably find it surprising if I suddenly sprouted wings and flipped toward the sky. I continued down the road, but... I suddenly came to a stop. Which way should I go? I looked around in confusion and realized I didn't recognize any of the landmarks around me. My heart started beating loudly. No, everything's fine. I calmed myself down and removed a notebook from the backpack I was wearing. On the back page of the notebook, the following sentence was written. You're looking for the neurology lab on the 3rd floor of the biology's building in Hope Peak Academy's eastern quarter. Felt a refreshing wind of relief passing through my body. Yeah, that's right, the biology building. But where is the biology building anyway? My heart went noisy once more. Everything's fine, no need to worry. I nervously flipped through the notebook as if acting on instinct, and my eyes stopped on a page with a crude drawing on the map. Above it, the following was written. This is a diagram of Hope Peak Academy's eastern quarter. Well done, me. Without thinking, I struck a victory pose. Soon I was standing on the raised edge of a fountain that decorated the center of the courtyard, comparing the buildings around me with the map. Literature building, science building, physics building, arts building, math building, PE building, linguistics building, staff building. Wow, there's so many buildings. As cold droplets from the fountain kept hitting my thighs, I looked for my destination, the biology building, as if I've never visited it before. It's right over there. This is like a nightmare scenario for me, by the way. Like, if I'm like going somewhere and I think I'm going the right direction and then I like lose where I'm supposed to go, my brain is so bad at getting back on track and actually finding the right answer. Like, if I'm not being specifically walked in the exact right direction, it's awful. Like, I have no navigational skills. And like, I don't think I would survive in a world pre-GPS. Like, it would be so difficult. I would survive, I just wouldn't be able to go anywhere. I finally found the square building, identifiable by its light green walls. It looked exactly like the note about the biology building in my notebook described it. Right. I jumped down from the fountain's edge and started running. Some boys in the area looked at me in surprise. Maybe my skirt flew up for a second during my vigorous sleep, but that really has nothing to do with me. Anyway, I must reach my destination before I forget. My ferocious dash led me inside the biology building, where I soon discovered a flight of stairs at the back of the lobby. I didn't lose momentum for even a second as I ran up the stairs to the 3rd floor. When I reached it, I ran down the corridor, checking the signs next to the doors lined on its walls. Finally, at the very end, I found the sign that read, Neurology Lab. I hastily stopped in my tracks. After a quick deep breath, I checked my hair and my smile in a hand mirror. Yep, cute as always. Flashing that same wonderful smile and shouting, "Good day," in my brother's voice, I opened the lab's door, and that's when it happened. Something flew just past my ear, making a wind-cutting whooshing sound. Eek! I turned my head in panic and saw a small blade embedded in the wall behind me, still vibrating from the impact. I jumped back. What? Why is there a scalpel flying through the air? I screeched. Don't shout, a chiding voice answered back from the lab. The moment I heard that voice, my heart started beating faster. Thump thump went my heart as I turned to look inside the lab. A boy was lying on top of a bed installed in the center of the room. You're late. That's unseemly for someone as ugly as you. A dirty white shirt was sloppily thrown over his body. He was lying face up, his face concentrated on a thick manga magazine he held in his hand. He didn't look at me once. Okay, I don't know. Are these actually like the two characters that are being talked about, or is this just like a fun little picture that's in the middle? Because this is not where I thought it was going. You're also too loud for someone as ugly as you. Speaking of someone as ugly as you being scared of flying scalpels is weird too. Wait a second, I stopped, my voice showing signs of panic. I can report you for discrimination if you keep calling me ugly, you know. Who are you gonna report me to? The National Japanese Ugly People Association? That kind of organization will be guilty of discrimination just by existing. The manga reading boy who kept calling me ugly was the person in charge of this neurology lab. The doctor in charge of my treatment, my childhood friend. The boy I like most in the world. He's super high school level neurologist Yasuke Matsuda, I think. Okay. Alright, so these are characters that I did not. I thought this was coming to a different direction, but I'm glad I did not assume things. For people that only see this, or like play the games in like English or whatever, or like, yeah. Super high school level is the same thing as like Ultimate. Sometimes it gets translated to Ultimate something, sometimes it gets translated to super high school level things. I think in the animes, like in the Danganronpa 1 and 3 anime, I think they're always referred to as super high school level. But then like in Danganronpa 1 and 2, like the video games, they are like the ultimate this, the ultimate that. I personally prefer ultimate, but you know, if it's translated as super high school level, then that's perfectly acceptable as well. But they're the same thing. Oh, I see. You're a member of that association, aren't you? Is that why you're so angry? I'm not even ugly. I don't even know who's talking at this point. I'm going back and forth. Oh, 1 second. Thought you're right. You aren't ugly. My chest swelled in pride as I flashed a complacent smile. Yep, that's right. I even checked in my mirror just now, and you're super ugly. Super ugly? My shock was considerable, but it didn't take me long to recover enough to come with a sharp response. Liar! I'm not super ugly. If anything, I'm world-class cute. Matsuda-kun continued to ignore the fuss I was making, his eyes never leaving the magazine. I don't care what the world thinks. Ugliness is subjective, and I'm free to make my own judgment, he said, as if the matter at hand didn't concern him at all. So tell me why you think I'm ugly. I'll go fix it up in surgery, I said in desperation. Is it my eyes, my nose, maybe my mouth? How about my eyebrows? You forgot to mention your heart. But I can't fix my heart in surgery. Okay. Is that so? Poor you. Honestly, you're beyond help. Both your face and your brain aren't very good. Aren't any good. I think you can have some success if you make yourself an object of sympathy, though. Go stand in front of a train station and beg for a change or something. I'm sure you'll make lots of money. Drop my shoulders crestfallen. This guy's rude. Then I let my hands drop towards the floor and my body droop limply. I was beaten up. By the way, who are you? I raised my head in surprise at his unexpected question. I can't really tell just by the voice. Thing you don't know who you're talking to until now? It's your fault. You never told me who you were. I didn't, but you can recognize me by my look, can't you? See, it's me. I don't have time to look at you, said Matsuda-kun, still absorbed in his book. I just got to the interesting part. I don't have time? Isn't that just a manga magazine? So what? If you're going to ask what's more important, me or the manga, the answer is the same as always. It's the manga. Respect. I see. If the answer is the same as always, that means manga is always more important to you than me. That's cool. I didn't want to know that. That's a fine observation, but please just answer the question. Okay. Pressured, I took the notebook out of my backpack once more and observed its front cover. Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook. As soon as I saw the title, I remembered. I remember my own name. It seems my name is Ryoko Otonashi. Does she not remember her own name? I know only one person stupid enough to not be sure of her own name. I think you're talking about me, probably. I'm so confused. How do you forget your own name? That's crazy. Matsuda-kun lets out a big sigh. Huh. You weren't someone suspicious after all. Trying to say that you threw the scalpel earlier because you mistook me for someone suspicious or something? Exactly. I'm not the kind of person who throws sharp objects at acquaintances after all. Liar! I pointed my index finger straight at Matsuda-kun. I mean, before you confirmed who I am, you told me I was late and that I was too loud for an ugly person. That's proof you knew who I was. Smack. Matsuda-kun loudly snapped his manga magazine shut. He leveraged the bed's cushion to jump out of it and walked briskly toward me until there was almost no distance between us. Eh? What? Why? He looked straight into my eyes. My body grew hotter by the second. You remember that? Huh? Matsuda-kun clutched my shoulder strongly with both his hands. He pushed his face close to mine. You remember me calling you ugly when you got here? He asked slowly. Seeing Matsuda-kun pressing so close to me with a serious expression on his face made my heartbeat increase tenfold. I think so? I guess my condition's a little better today. Just as the tone of my voice started warming up, he released his hold on my shoulders and turned around to face away from me. Then still looking away, he whispered as if talking to himself. Is your condition really better, or is it worse? Okay, so it seems like maybe she has some sort of like memory condition. So maybe that's why she doesn't remember her own name, and that's also why she couldn't find this neurology building, despite the fact that she's probably been here before? Okay. So maybe as a result of something that's happening to her here, or maybe there's just some sort of condition she has. I have no idea. What do you mean? It's nothing. Matsuda-kun shook his head and began speaking in a commanding tone. Go lie on the bed. We have to begin today's treatment. With my mind still reverberating with the beats of my heart, I removed my backpack and set it aside. Then I laid down on the bed, occupied by Matsuda-kun until just a few minutes ago. As I let my body soak into the soft mat, my nose was filled with the scent of the sheets. Matsuda-kun's scent. I sniffed his scent as I felt the remains of his body warmth engulf my body, and felt as happy as if he were lying next to me, hugging me softly. I laughed an instinctive happy laugh. It's something funny. Matsuda-kun grimaced and gave me a hard look. I realize that's the way dung dealers laugh, but even though you are one, it's just too gross. Can't you at least try to laugh normally? Yo, 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 yo. That's I'm gonna laugh forever from now on. Just so everybody knows that. What's what's normal about that? That's even grosser. What do you mean? Yo, 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 yo. Imagine if I did that. Shocked, Matsuda-kun rolled a trolley noisily from the center of the lab. On top of it were several complicated, important-looking machines. He pushed the trolley up to the bed and said, "Here we go," and started operating one of the machines with a tense expression on his face. I found myself staring at him work. Silky soft hair, long almond eyes peeking through it, long feminine eyelashes, a pointed jaw, small pale lips, long white fingers. Stop looking at me, ugly. It's creepy. And a sharp tongue. That's right, that's my Matsuda-kun. I rolled to my side and wrote a note in my notebook. You don't have to write everything down, Dung Beetle. But if I don't write it down, I'll forget it all. Matsuda-kun let out an exaggerated sigh. Honestly, your brain's like a bottomless bucket. A bottomless bucket. It wasn't another one of his cool jokes, it was true. I forget everything I see and hear after a very short time. I don't know the reason. If I ever knew, I've forgotten it. But whatever the reason may be, my forgetfulness is not normal. Of that, I'm certain. But it's not like I'm forgetting things because I want to. There's a sickness in my brain, right? I can't help it, so be nice to me. No, I don't think we can call it sickness and be done with it. Matsuda-kun shook his head lightly. The human memory is a complicated thing, and there is much we don't know about it. It's still very much a black box. Your situation isn't just a simple sickness that can be dealt with like any other. As he explained, he stuck suction pads all over my head and my face. The cords running from the suction pads were attached to the machines on a trolley. There's part of the human memory that we call episodic memory. It stores your personal experiences, what you see and hear. The area of your brain responsible for it is called the hippocampus. If something goes wrong there, the brain experiences difficulties in creating and storing new episodes. There's a famous old example about a patient who had the hippocampus removed in surgery and lost all ability to form new memories. After that happened, there has been much research done about the exact role of the hippocampus in relation to memory. That said, even if your hippocampus is malfunctioning, you won't lose your ability to remember or learn procedural memory tasks such as riding a bicycle or using tools. You won't remember the episodes related to those tasks, though. For example, you may remember how to ride a bicycle, but you won't remember how you came to be able to ride them. That's it in a nutshell. Okay, that makes sense. I feel like I've heard things like similar like that. I assume this is pretty accurate as to how the brain works, at least in a simplified manner. Or like memories and stuff. I see. So that's why even though I'm very forgetful, I still know how to read and write in my notebook. I held the notebook in question with both my hands and nodded thoughtfully. Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook. That notebook was memory itself for me. My one and only indispensable trusted item. As long as I have it, I can probably live a regular life, much like regular people. That said, it seems that this school is a little late in accommodating the memory challenge, and that I am still facing many difficulties on that front. For example, during exams, it's forbidden to look in notebooks, which caused my grades to plummet and got me suspended from... what? I've been suspended from the school, I yelled, looking up from the notebook, just because my grades are bad? That's not fair. Oh, she just saw that was something that happened, because she doesn't remember. Oh, that's kind of funny, but still kind of sad at the same time. Interesting. You should be glad they haven't kicked you out completely. I had to negotiate with the school to make that happen. And you stood up for me? My heart skipped a beat. I'm so happy. You really are fond of me, aren't you? Matsuda-kun snorted. I just need you here as a research subject. Nevertheless, Matsuda-kun went out and helped me, and that's good enough. Your case seems to involve a failure in retrieval of long-term memory. I think something went wrong with the synapses connecting the neurons somewhere in your brain, but I need more time to investigate the problem more thoroughly before I can really understand what's going on. I didn't understand most of what you said, but at least I haven't been expelled. If I get expelled now, where would I even go? I don't have anywhere to go outside the school. I've forgotten everything else. I don't even remember my family or any old friends I may or may not have. If I get expelled, I will also end up away from you, Matsuda-kun. Being separated from Matsuda-kun was the thing I feared most. My body shivered a little just speaking the words out loud. I mean, he could be a little bit nicer. I don't like this, like, sort of, like, you know, she is, like, super fond of this guy, and this guy just, like, treats her like trash. This is, like, not super great, but everything else about this so far is fine. But he could stand to be a little bit nicer. Being separated from Matsuda-kun was the thing I feared most. My body shivered a little bit just speaking the words out loud. You shouldn't worry too much. Matsuda-kun turned to face me and spoke bluntly. You're a valuable research subject, and I don't plan to lose you. At least not at the moment. But you might change your mind later. I'm happy, but I have to remember not to be too much of a burden from now on. Don't complain. You should be honored that you're participating in such an important research. Matsuda-kun chided me and then continued his explanation. In order to understand why memory loss occurs, we need to understand the core elements of our brain's memory storage apparatus. Once we make advances in that field, it opens the doors to a wide array of possibilities. like improving the quality and longevity of human memory, or developing medicine to prevent memory loss. In the future, we might even be able to treat memories like we do data on a hard drive. We'll be able to create devices that back them up or destroy them or destroy parts of them freely. There's already research going on that front abroad. They managed to erase the lab rats' long-term memory by manipulating their M-zeta kinase enzyme. I see. This kind of just dawned on me, is like a lot of this research probably has to tie into the fact that they were able to erase the school memories of the students from the first game. So this is like research and stuff that is either going to be used by this guy, or maybe Junko gets a hold of it, or maybe she already has, or maybe just similar research has been done and has been utilized in that way. But I was just kind of thinking, I was like, what does this have to do about anything Danganronpa related? And like that is probably the connection, if I had to guess. But yeah, see. In fact, I didn't see it all, but for the time being, I had to be agreeable. In any case, I'm just super happy that I could be any help to my beloved Matsuda-kun. Your brain is empty, and so are the words it produces. You really are an empty woman. I didn't quite understand if he was serious or just making fun of me. Well, that's just how Matsuda-kun is. He always insisted I should take care of myself. He may be cold to me and may be blunt, but he doesn't treat me with fake sympathy. It's depressing when people do, so I'm grateful for his attitude. That's fair. Again, he doesn't have to be, like, so outwardly mean, but, like, I understand, not wanting to be treated like, you know, yeah, like, you don't want to be treated, like, super, like pathetic and like a child, and, like, you can't do anything, so, you know, it's, like, the same sort of thing from, like, people that are, like, either, like wheelchair bound, or, like, blind, or, you know, or have any sort of, like, disability that, like, prevents them from, blending in with, you know, the rest of society that, like, doesn't are not affected by those things. It's like people are still people and want to be treated like people. They don't want to be treated as, like, you know, oh, they can't do anything. Like, I don't know, just treat people as people. That's the main thing. And she sort of falls into this sort of thing of, like, I like just being treated like a person, even if it's, like, bad. At least I'm, like, being treated as if you would treat anybody else, which is fair. I may be empty, but I'm still super happy. I raised my voice, refusing to be discouraged. But Matsuda-kun's reply was almost a whisper. Well, can't deny you're helping me out here. One doesn't get his hands on such a rare case very often. Did you say rare? I like the sound of that word. I felt as happy as if I was being praised. So what's rare about me? Tell me. Stop acting like a child. Matsuda-kun let out a big sigh. I don't want to tell you. You just get annoyingly excited. What's wrong with that? Tell me. My assistance finally paid off. You don't often see someone possessing such a superb, brain-intensive talent as you do, affected by memory loss. That's why you're such a rare case. Brain-intensive talent, okay. Talent, brain-intensive? Nothing came to my mind. It's fine if you don't remember it. It was really irritating when you used that talent of yours. I'm warning you, don't ever try to use it on me. You got that, dung beetle? I didn't quite get what he meant, but his dung beetle comments stung my heart a little bit, so I couldn't help but nod in agreement. Well, I don't really care as long as I get to spend these intimate moments with you, Matsuda-kun. I should be thankful that there's sickness in my brain. I told you it's not really a sickness. Matsuda-kun stuck even more suction cups in my head, as if he was trying to hide my grinning face. Nevertheless, it's admirable that you can take this so easily. Your condition is no laughing matter. Shouldn't you be at least a little worried? What's there to be worried about? I mean, said Matsuda-kun in amazement, aren't you worried whether these symptoms are ever going to go away? These words surprised me. Wasn't like Matsuda-kun at all, asking a question like that in such a serious voice. Haha, I'm not worried at all. I laughed, trying to lighten the mood. I mean, the only one I can remember is the me that's lying here on this bed at this very moment. I can't remember anything from before I lost, like, memory, so it's not like I have anything to compare to. That's why I don't see my forgetfulness as a disadvantage. It's just part of who I am. You don't see it as a disadvantage, but aren't you even worried about how this memory loss started or when it's going to end? Not at all. In fact, I'm much more worried that if I suddenly get cured, I wouldn't get to see you anymore, Matsuda-kun. The room suddenly turned quiet. After the silence continued for a while, Matsuda-kun broke it with a whisper. You don't have to worry, he said, his voice suddenly dark. I won't let this treatment end. I looked up, the face peeking through his pitch-black hair was stiff, lost in thought. Matsuda-kun? Since I called him, he straightened up and turned back to me. No, it's nothing. Shook his head, as if trying to smooth things over. Then he returned to the machine and continued working as if nothing happened. Well, nothing good can come out of being too pessimistic about your symptoms. That's one case where your natural cheerfulness is actually helpful. Yep, my thinking's very flexible after all. Your head is flexible, that's for sure. You can't even remember your friends or family before you lost your memory, and yet you aren't even slightly disconcerted. But forgetting them is just like I never had them at all. That's why everyone I forgot, they really have nothing to do with me anymore. Those words again. Matsuda-kun winked for an awfully long time. If you keep saying things have nothing to do with you, you're gonna end up with nothing left inside. Oh, I'll be fine. I'll always have you, Matsuda-kun, stuck my chest in pride. You're the only person I can remember, so as long as you're here, I won't get lonely. Probably linked me with the process of coming here to receive this treatment in your procedural memory. That's why you can remember me. No, that's not it at all. Yeah, I know, said Matsuda-kun, trying to calm me down before I became too flustered. He continued attaching suction cups to my face, stopping from time to time to scratch his chest, which I could catch a glimpse of through a gap in his dirty white shirt. Does he really know what I meant? He probably just said that to shut me up. I don't think he even believed me when I said I remembered him, but it's true. I don't remember him in the usual sense of the word, remember, of course, but I didn't lie when I said I do. I remember Matsuda-kun. I forget him, and yet I remember. I'm not talking about our conversations or what we did together. For these kind of memories, I have to rely on my notebook. No, what I remember is something much more special and important. It's not memories, but feelings. Not using my head, but using my heart. What I remember about Matsuda-kun is pure emotion. Every time I see him, I feel the beat of my heart before my head even realizes what's going on. That beat tells me one important thing. For me, his very existence is precious, one of a kind. That's why, no matter how forgetful I become, I will never forget him. There's a connection deeper than memories between the two of us. For me, Matsuda-kun is special. He's extraordinary. He's a miracle. Shut up already, William. I came back to my senses confused. You heard me? I was about to jump out of my bed, but Matsuda-kun pinned my head back down. You're gonna get the cord disconnected. What are you, human waste, he said cruelly, as if I tried to disconnect his cord on purpose. But I never said a word. Are you talking about how loud my heartbeat is? I can't help that. If my heart stops, I'd die. I wasn't talking about you. I was referring to the noise outside. Oh, outside? Matsuda-kun turned up his chin and pointed to the window. When I listened intently, I could indeed hear an unusual noise coming from outside. Jeering voices, angry voices, hooting voices, reactionary voices full of anger. The kind of voices that could make the earth rumble. It was an assembly of unpleasant voices that could make your face frown instinctively. What is that? The parade. We're getting louder every day. A parade? You don't mean that parade. It's the Black Parade. You are welcome to it. Liar, you don't remember it at all. Matsuda-kun pinched my forehead and continued explaining. His face was grim. It's essentially a demonstration, but the teaching staff, or maybe I should say the old geezers in the steering committee, didn't like the sound of that word, so they decided to call it a stupid name like a parade. But isn't a parade the exact opposite of a demonstration? Yes and no. I don't know. I don't think they're opposites by exactly. That's exactly why they chose that name. But why a parade? The guys from the preparatory school. Preparatory school? I've never heard of such a thing. Or have I? You don't remember, of course. Well, your head is oversized, so I guess it can't be helped. Wait, calling it oversized is sexual harassment. This was the Edo period. It would be beheaded by now. Eep. My head, which was on his way up from the bed, was pushed back down. Oh my gosh. Hope's Academy is not a traditional learning facility like other schools. They provide education for the talented, but at the same time, they research that talent. The teaching staff aren't simple educators. They're also scientists who research human talent. The scientists are a bothersome bunch. The more they research, the more they want to research even deeper. Therefore, there's something they never have enough of. Do you know what that is? It's money. Oh, right. My chance to find the answer on my own was gone, so that's the least I could say. Up until recently, Hope's Peak Academy was a small-scale facility that could survive on a government subsidiary and graduate donations. The research was often blocked by a lack of resources, though. But the steering committee was not satisfied with the state of the research, so they instituted the preparatory school system in order to bring in more money. I nodded enthusiastically to show I was listening. The gist of it is that super high school levels are affiliated with the main school, but there's now a separate educational facility attached to it called a preparatory school. The school is located on the west quarter of the campus, while the main school remains here on the east quarter, so we don't actually intermingle much. I heard there's not much that's the same over there. They don't scout their students and rely on a regular entrance exam to choose among participants. The teaching staff is chosen the same way. Our teachers are the scientists who work and live at the school, while they have regular teaching coming from outside. So it's just a regular high school, isn't it? Exactly. Nevertheless, there was a flood of applications. A brand name is a powerful thing. Matsuda-kun almost spat the words out. People didn't care, though. It was just a preparatory school. The prestigious Hope's Peak Academy had finally opened its doors to the public. People are sheep. They're drawn to a name, and the school took advantage of that to get more money. Thanks to that, the school went through with a sudden growth spurt. We suddenly have research buildings that can make any university jealous. No one was prepared for that. In just a year or two, Hope's Peak Academy became a school of an entirely different scale. The power of the steering committee also grew accordingly. But that almost seems like fraud. It doesn't just seem like one. Matsuru-kun's mouth twisted in a bitter smile. Right now, Hospital Academy is set up like a third world country's pyramid class system. The multitude of students in the preparatory school exists only to support the few super high school levels in the main one. It seems they have some kind of bogus system in place for exceptional students to transfer to the main school, but I've never heard of anyone actually succeeding. Our teachers probably don't think any of them deserve it. By the way, it sounds like this preparatory school is also like the reserve course. I think they are one and the same. It doesn't sound like they are different things, but that sounds exactly like what the reserve course is. So I believe that the preparatory school is the same thing as the reserve course. I think they are interchangeable, from what I can understand. That's not how educators should behave. You're right, but it's exactly how scientists do. They don't care about anything but their research subject. I'm just the same, in fact. It's just that their subject is human talent. But it's so unfair. I puff my cheeks. Of course it is. If it wasn't, there wouldn't be any need for a demonstration, would there? But still. Matsuru-kun suddenly cut his speech short. His tone of voice changed to a cautious one. I don't think they could have set this all up on their own. This has to be the result of someone else's scheme. That's how I feel. Eh? Matsuru-kun narrowed his eyes and looked outside the window. His look was so grim that I hesitated to speak. Hey, ugly. After a short while, he turned his back to me, as if remembering something. Write this conversation down properly in your notebook. Don't brush it off as something as having nothing to do with you. Those preparatory school students don't think much of us. I don't think they're going to attack you or anything, but it's better to be cautious. Okay, I understand. As I replied, I noticed the suction cups stuck to my head and face were making it difficult to move my mouth. I need you to stay still for a while. I don't mind if you sleep. Matsuru-kun stepped away from my line of sight. But I'm not sleepy at all, I replied in an insecure voice. Matsuru-kun's voice answered from the other side of the room. I can give you sleeping pills. A dozen should probably be enough. A dozen? Isn't that a lethal dose? Are you sure it's alright? As soon as my uneasiness grew even deeper, Matsuru-kun appeared in front of me again. He was now wearing a school jacket on top of his dirty shirt. If something happens to my machines while I'm gone, you're dead. Are you going somewhere? I have a little business to take care of. Anyway, if something happens to my machines, you're dead. He was serious enough to repeat the warning twice. I wouldn't mind being killed if it's you who kills me. That's such a random sentence to say. It'd be troublesome for me. I hate gore. What? I didn't think this was such a good quality for someone who studies the human brain, but I didn't say anything. In that case, if I stay here and wait like a good girl, let's go see a movie together later. Movie? You know, like that one. I flipped through the pages of my notebook searching for memories about movies. Here's one. It's about 2 hours. Harry and Mars sneak into the McAllister household. Nice, Home Alone. You're talking about Home Alone. It seems like you've forgotten, but you bugged me to stay with you before, and we did. Really? In that case, I continued flipping through my notebook, but couldn't find mention of any other movies. Seems I was particularly interested in that movie. I could blame myself all day, but it'd get me nowhere. Well, it's a masterpiece, so I'm sure it's still interesting even if you watch it again. Certainly not a bad movie. It's not the kind of movie I'd want to watch again and again. What kind of movie do you... Please don't ask me questions fit for the diary of a middle school girl. I felt his distasteful stare glaring down at me, but I didn't give up. Let's do it. If you pretend you're watching it for the first time, it's going to be fun. I read a little more in my notebook. According to this, I thought that the little boy you played the main character, Wakuli Culkin. Wakuli, okay. Super cute. There's a cute boy in this movie. Isn't this exciting? Isn't he like 10? No. I don't know. Like childlike cute? Sure. If you say so. And why exactly do you think that would excite me? Also, the actor isn't named as if he was a brand of lingerie. Oh, is that what that is? It's Macaulay Culkin. It says right here that I thought he was cute and I want to adopt him. Okay, yeah, so like child cute. You only say that because you didn't know he looks today. He underwent quite a transformation. Transformation, huh? Yeah, he's I don't know. Now he looks fine. I feel like there was definitely like a period of time where he basically just looked like a meth head. Maybe it was one. I don't really know the timeline of Macaulay Culkin's life. Matsuru-kun narrowed his almond eyes even more than usual and swiped his bangs away from his forehead. Just be a good girl and go to sleep. It seems he was tired of me trying to postpone his departure. Wait, don't go! Nevertheless, now panicking, I try to stop him again. I don't want you to go. I'd be lonely. Don't leave me here alone. We haven't seen each other in a long time, have we? A long time. Matsuru-kun stopped in his tracks. Why do you think we haven't seen each other in a long time? Eh? I'm asking why you think we haven't seen each other in a long time. Matsuru-kun faced away from me as we spoke. His voice was tinted with pain and it made me feel anxious. I can tell by the rate my heart was beating, I think. So if you see me every day, your heart doesn't beat as fast when I'm near? No, that's not it. We did meet just yesterday, we did, you know. Oh, we did? Not surprising you forgot. Unfortunate. Matsuru-kun's back curled forward as if he was dejected. I guess you were just lying when you said I'm the only one you can remember. Wait, I'll remember in a second. In haste, I flipped through the pages of my notebook. I went through them all back to back, but I couldn't find any memories of me and Matsuda-kun meeting the day before. It was a complete failure. When I looked away from the notebook, Matsuda-kun was already gone. If I've been had, there was nothing more I could do about it. Oh, so maybe he was lying and they didn't actually see each other yesterday? Interesting. I guess there really is nothing I can do with sleep. Not that that's such a bad thing. At the very least, when I'm asleep, I can lose myself inside the dreams. I can escape this lonely world that doesn't have Matsuda-kun in it. I can probably even meet Matsuda-kun in my dreams. With that thought deep in my heart, I rolled to my side, careful not to disturb the cords all over my head, and sniffed the pillow that still had traces of Matsuda-kun's scent. I sniffed it as if I were a puppy and rubbed my cheeks against it, purring happily. Then I closed my eyes. Dude, okay. I was like to say, does this chapter ever end? As my vision blacked out, my other senses sharpened. Before long, the only thing remaining in my world was Matsuda-kun's scent. No, that wasn't the only thing. I could also hear voices interfering with my and Matsuda-kun's private world. An assembly of emotional, unsettling voices. Anxiety washed over my entire body just listening to them, so I blocked my ears in panic. It has nothing to do with me, after all. Nevertheless, I couldn't sleep. I felt like my body forgot how to. I want to fall asleep. I want to sleep and tide over this world that doesn't have Matsuda-kun in it. I want to meet him again. Matsuda-kun, 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 and then, as I dreamed about, dreaming about Matsuda-kun, I slowly fell into a blissful sleep. I am very worried that Matsuda-kun is gonna die. There was like a couple of things that like stood out. You know, they did this classic like, oh, when you get back, you know, we'll do this, or oh, if anything happens to this while I'm gone, you're dead, or you know, I'm gonna be mad. And it's like I just don't think that Matsuda is like coming back. There's this like connection, and it feels like I'm gonna forget her name so many times. It was like Ochunashi or something. But yeah, it definitely seems like she would be in a very rough spot if he did die. So it would almost make sense for him to, because then she's really put into quite a predicament, and then I don't know, but maybe not, and maybe we just learn more about all the stuff going on. Yeah, I underestimated how long a chapter could be. The first two chapters took like 50 minutes, and then the third chapter alone took like a half an hour. So if every chapter is like a half an hour, then they will all be their own videos. If some of them are shorter, then they'll be longer like this one. So we're just gonna kind of play it by ear, and as we keep going through. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the first three chapters, and you will join me for the future reading of Danganronpa Zero. We still have a long way to go. This is definitely going to be a lot longer than the other novels that we have read, but I think it'll be worth it, and it'll be definitely enough content to tide us over until I am ready to talk about the Danganronpa 3 anime, and then start the Danganronpa V3 video game. So I'm very excited about that. Hopefully y'all are as well. Go ahead and leave your thoughts and whatever in the comments, and I will see y'all on the next time. So until then, peace out.